Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Just Bulldogs podcast, our first potty of 2025. Good to be back on the mic. Been a while since the end of the season, so I figured I'd jump back on and talk about some of the Bulldogs happenings since the season ended. Had a couple of big news reports coming out lately. So yeah, jump on and warm us back up into the 2025 season, which will quickly approach. We're about 3 months away from kickoff. So, yeah, I'll sort of jump back on and give you like some content. Give all of our listeners some content to get around our Bulldogs heading into the season. We'll start off with a list of the players that have departed since the 2024 season has ended. There's been some that sort of come out of nowhere, some that we did expect as the season was coming to an end. Few that we already did know were Chris Patolo, Hayes Perham, Gerald Skelton, and Josh Adokar. They were announced coming into the back end of the season. We sort of knew that they were on the way out. Pawasa Famasili did retire after the season ended, so congratulations to him on a good career. Managed to get a decent amount of NRL games under his belt before he has hung the boots up. But then a few surprising ones. Joash Papali'i, Jordan Samrani, and Kidioni Kautonga later announced in the off-season. Those three players have gone to the Parramatta Eels. Pretty disappointed to see a few of these guys leave. I was pretty excited to see some of them make their way into the top grade. Kidioni Kautonga, we've seen, I think, a couple times this season. Showed some sparks with the ball in hand. He's a pretty exciting player on the edge. Just has some lapses on the defensive side of the ball, but pretty good with the ball in his hand. Jordan Samrani was a pretty exciting Bulldogs junior coming up, playing in the centers, mostly a little bit on the wing, but a good player. And then Joash, thought to be the long-term fullback for the Bulldogs. Very exciting player, very good feet. Didn't make his NRL debut for the Dogs, and will look to push for that spot going over the Parramatta Eels. A bit of competition for that one jersey over there, so he should be able to get in the mix to potentially get a run there. So we appreciate all those players for their time at the Bulldogs, but good luck to them in their future football career. That's all for those players all departing the Bulldogs after the 2024 season. But what that does is open up Bulldogs for some new recruits for the 2025 season. A few new players coming into the side. We've had some big signings, and we've had a few depth signings as well heading into 2025. In the wings is where the team's really probably been the most shaken up. With Josh Adokar leaving the squad and heading to Parramatta, we've had to bring some guys in to fight for positions. Gerald Skelton also heading to the Tigers. So we have brought in Anari Tuwala and Marcello Montoya, Bulldog Junior Marcello Montoya. So we welcome those two guys to the squad. They will be fighting with Blake Wilson for that other wing spot opposite Jacob Kiraz, who will definitely be locking in one side of the field. Between Montoya, Tuwala, and Blake Wilson fighting for the other wing spot. Then we also have Tom Amone coming from the Lee Leopards in the Super League, a pretty exciting looking front rower. Not the biggest body, but very aggressive, got a bit of ball skills and good on his feet up front. So excited to see him on the field. And also Statili Tupanua, the edge back rower, also middle forward from the Sydney Roosters. Very talented player. Has had a pretty good NRL career so far. Has played some representative football for Tonga, I believe. But has struggled with injuries so far in his career. So hopefully the Bulldogs can set him straight on the injury front, can get him on the field as much as possible. I definitely think he will be a very good buy for the Bulldogs. That's all so far for the 2025 season. Bulldogs players coming and going. The only other one, a bit of news breaking at the moment, is Karl Oloapu. potentially getting an immediate release to go up to the Dolphins. Sort of come out of nowhere. It sounds like it's official, but the club has not announced anything yet. Sounds like an immediate release for him to go up there. Pretty disappointing considering he what we paid to get him to the club, and then giving him a debut pretty early on, and then him getting that pretty horrible neck injury, which was very tough. And he's done very well to overcome that to be able to potentially play football at all moving forward. I definitely understand him wanting to go back home to Queensland after going through something like that. So I do wish the best of luck to Karl. I hope he does have a long NRL career, and meets it potentially has. Disappointing it won't be in the blue and white if it is true that he will be leaving. But definitely wish the best of luck to Karl in his future on the field and off the field. Very disappointing that he won't be at the Bulldogs going forward if all reports are true. And then the last big one for this offseason, the Bulldogs signing Leo Thompson after the 2026 season and going on. It's a 4-year contract, reported to be about $3.5 million. So it's somewhere between 800,000 and 900,000 a year. It sounds like about 850 a year. It's sort of rough estimates at the moment. No official reports. I'm very excited for this signing. Leo Thompson is the type of front rower that I have been hoping the Bulldogs would be able to sign. A enforcer in the middle, big body, who brings a lot of grunt in the attack. He might not be the massive game breaker that's going to bust the line every run, but he's very strong in defense, and he will be very aggressive with the ball in hand. Will lead from the front. The kind of front rower that you really want to get around. So far in his career, he's played 64 games for the Newcastle Knights as a front rower. He's 186 centimeters, which is 6'1", 107 kilos, and only 24 years of age. So he'll be 25 when he makes his debut for the Bulldogs. He's played 2 games for the Maori All Stars and 4 for the New Zealand the New Zealand Kiwis on the international stage. He's a very intimidating front rower, but he is skillful. He can run a pretty good line when he works with his forwards, and I think he'll work very well with Reid Marnie on those short balls when we get close to the line. So, in my opinion, he's the missing piece that we've needed in this front row pack. We've still got a little bit of building to do around the squad, but I think most of that will come from our juniors, and a lot of some of our junior front rows on the way up. I definitely think have some pretty good careers coming, but an out-and-out star of our game at such a young age, already playing very good football on the international stage. Very excited for Leo Thompson to come to the Bulldogs. So we welcome Leo and wish him all the best. He'll play out this year for the Newcastle Knights, and then 2026 he'll make the move come into our Canterbury Bulldogs. So very, very exciting signing there. But that's about it. I don't have anything too deep to get into. For the future of the podcast, I still want to try to get some more out before the season starts. Last year I went over all of the positions, all the players fighting for spots. I'd appreciate some input from any of the listeners. If you can reach out, tell me what kind of content you want. I enjoyed doing those position profiles last year, going over who is fighting for spots and which spots are mostly cemented. So if you're into that kind of content, make sure to reach out and let me know that you want it again, and I'll definitely do it again. But tell me any other kind of content you want me to put up. If you want like the question and answers podcast, the mailbag type of stuff, I can do some of that. If you, some of the listeners want to throw some questions out, any other kind of content, but definitely throw me your ideas. I'm very willing to put out whatever you like. Just love talking about the Bulldogs. So whatever will get your listeners engaged and enjoying the podcast the most, reach out and let me know, and I'll definitely throw a few more episodes up before the season starts, before we start getting into the previews and reviews. But I appreciate everyone for listening. That'll do for this one. Just a quick one to get back into the rhythm, getting some podcasts back out on the feed. So thanks for listening. Make sure to check out @JustBulldogs_ on Instagram and Twitter. And yeah, that'll do. Thank you very much. Bye.